never sigh goodbye. Oh me, oh my. 7 times he hurried to the train. I need to cut out white, and that's the truth, and get a brand new man while I got my youth. Bumping on the music is all I need to start me off. On a truck downtown and spin the moo and get short vamp shoes. Here's a new man, too.
One of the never forgotten icons of the past is Pearl Bailey. She was a singer, actress, comedian, and author. She was definitely that girl. She became the first African American to receive the Screen Actors Guild Lifetime Achievement Award in 1976. She also received the Presidential Medal of Freedom on October 17, 1988. She won a Daytime Emmy Award in 1986 for her performance as a fairy godmother in the ABC after school special Cindy Eller, A Modern Fairy Tale. In 1952, her rendition of Takes Two to Tango went to the top 10. She worked as an HIV/AIDS awareness advocate. She spoke openly about the disease and the urgent need for global cooperation. Pearl May Bailey was born on March 29, 1918 in Newport News, Virginia, to Reverend Joseph James and Ella May Ricks Bailey. She was the youngest of 4 children. The family moved to Washington, D.C. when she was a child. After her parents' divorce, Pearl's mother moved them to Philadelphia. Her mother would also get remarried. Her family was poor, so Pearl had to pitch in and help the family. She started working as a cleaner for rich white families. She started singing on stage when she was 15 years old. Her brother Bill Bailey was starting his own career as a tap dancer, and he suggested that she enter an amateur contest at the Pearl Theater in Philadelphia. That was cut short, and the theater would close without paying her. She would also win another contest at the Apollo Theater. She began by singing and dancing in Philadelphia black nightclubs in the 1930s and started performing in other parts of the East Coast. In 1941, during World War II, she toured the country with the USO performing for American troops. While she was on tour, she experienced a lot of prejudice. She couldn't stay at the same hotels or eat at the same places with her Caucasian tour mates. She settled in New York after the tour. She was successful as a nightclub performer. She later had acts with entertainers like Cab Calloway and Duke Ellington. She made her Broadway debut in 1946 in St. Louis Woman. She won a Donaldson Award for her performance as the Best Broadway Newcomer. She toured and recorded albums along with her stage and screen performances. She guest starred on CBS's Faye Emerson's Wonderful Town. Back in 1967, Pearl and Cab Calloway headlined an all-black cast version of Hello Dolly. The touring version was so successful that producer David Merrick took it to Broadway. It played to sold-out houses and revitalized the musical. She won a special Tony Award for her role, and RCA Victor released a second original cast album, the only recording of the score to have an overture written especially for the recording. She was a big fan of the New York Mets. She sang the national anthem at Shea Stadium prior to Game 5 of the 1969 World Series and appeared in the World Series highlight film, showing her support for the team. Pearl Bailey hosted her own variety series on ABC, The Pearl Bailey Show, from January to May 1971, which featured many popular guests including Louis Armstrong, Lucille Ball, and Bing Crosby. After her television series, she provided voices for animations such as Tubby the Toba in 1976 and Disney's The Fox and the Hound in 1981. In 1975, she had returned to Broadway, playing the lead in an all-black production of Hello Dolly. In October 1975, she was invited by Betty Ford to sing for Egyptian President Anwar Sadat at a White House state dinner as part of Mideast Peace Initiative. She earned a degree in theology from Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. in 1985 at 67 years old. She wrote a number of books, including The Raw Pearl, 1968, Talking to Myself, 1971, Pearl's Kitchen, 1973, and Hurry Up America and Spit in 1976. She was appointed Special Ambassador to the United Nations by President Gerald Ford in 1975, a position she held under three presidents. She won the Coretta Scott King Award for her children's book, Dewey's Tale, in 1976. On January 19th, 1985, she appeared on a nationally televised broadcast gala the night before the second inauguration of Ronald Reagan. In 1988, she received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from President Reagan. There's a story about Maya Angelou and Pearl Bailey. I mentioned it in the Maya Angelou story. Maya Angelou's son, Guy Johnson, shared a story to highlight the heartbreaking moment in his mother's early career. Allegedly, in the 1960s, a struggling Maya Angelou auditioned to be Pearl Bailey's understudy for the Black Broadway production of Hello Dolly. Although the director and producer wanted Maya Angelou, Pearl Bailey allegedly refused, stating, "Oh no, I ain't gonna have this big old ugly girl be my understudy." Because she lost the part, Maya couldn't secure a steady income in New York and was forced to go back on the road performing. Her son recalled seeing her devastated and crying over the setback. Despite all this, Maya Angelou maintained her professionalism. Years later, when Pearl Bailey was awarded a Lifetime Achievement Award, she specifically requested Maya Angelou to present it to her. Maya fulfilled the request and didn't mention what happened in the past. Regarding her personal life, she was married a few times. John Rodolph Pickett was either her third or fourth husband when she was 30 years old and divorced him 4 years later. She accused him of being physically abusive. She married jazz drummer Louis Bellson in November of 1952 in London. She allegedly married him 4 days after she met him. They were married for 38 years until her death. It was reported that Belson's father opposed the marriage because she was black. They adopted a son, Tony, in the mid 1950s. Their daughter, Dee Dee Jean Belson, was born April 20th, 1960. Tony died in 2004, and Dee Dee Belson died on July 4th, 2009, at 49 years old, 5 months after her father, who died on February 14th. Yeah, it's sad. They died young. Pearl Bailey was appointed by President Richard Nixon as the nation's ambassador of love in 1970. She attended several meetings of the United Nations and later appeared in a campaign ad for President Gerald Ford in the 1976 election. She was awarded the Bronze Medallion in 1968. That was the highest conferred award upon civilians by New York City. Pearl appeared in a number of films, including Variety Girl in 1947, Isn't It Romantic? Carmen Jones in 1954, St. Louis Blues, Porgy and Bess, All the Fine Young Cannibals, The Landlord, Tubby the Tuba, Norman, Is That You in 1976, and The Fox and the Hound. Pearl was a close friend of actress Joan Crawford. In 1969, Joan and Pearl Bailey joined fellow friend Gypsy Rose Lee in accepting a USO award. That year, Pearl Bailey was recognized as the USO's Woman of the Year. When Crawford died in May 1977, Pearl spoke of her as a sister and sang a hymn at her funeral. Pearl allegedly has suffered from heart problems for over 30 years. On August 17, 1990, Pearl Bailey died at Thomas Jefferson University Hospital in Philadelphia. She was 72 years old. An autopsy confirmed the death was caused by the narrowing of a coronary artery. She's buried at Rolling Green Memorial Park in Westchester, Pennsylvania. There's a library in her hometown of Newport News, Virginia, that is named after her. A dress owned by her is at the National Museum of African American History and Culture. Pearl Bailey is remembered for her style as a singer who had a comedic side. She was an award winning actress, author, and humanitarian who is not forgotten. Rest in peace, Miss Pearl Bailey.